This government shutdown is absolutely bananas, and it is affecting firm owners, it is affecting clients, it's affecting all of us. Whether you're a federal worker or not, this government shutdown affects you, and especially as a firm owner, and especially as firm owners that are taking federal cases, have federal clients, take federal appointments, then you are for sure being affected by the shutdown. And we want to talk about that today and how to make sure that your firm is shutdown proof, recession proof, pandemic proof, to make sure that you can still thrive in seasons where other people are struggling. No, we don't want anyone to struggle. We don't want anyone to not have enough, to go without. What we do want to do is make sure that we're putting the plan in place so that our firm and our team and their families are protected in times where the government is doing foolishness and doing the most. So let's talk about it today. This is the Attorney Cheat Code. My name is Alicia Jones, and I'm a Texas-based attorney. And I'm going to give you tools to fast track your way to profitable firm ownership, to not just create a law firm for the sake of having one, but to create a law firm that will create the life of your dreams. If this is your first time here, then welcome to the show. And if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, if you rock with me on every single video, first of all, thank you. And make sure that you are sharing this video with another firm owner or aspiring firm owner, or a firm owner that's been in business for 30, 40, 50 years. There's always something that we can learn from each other. So make sure to hit that button or that bell below so that you can be notified of future episodes. I want to really talk today about this government shutdown because for me, it makes no sense. All right. We know that our laws are antiquated. We know that things are in place right now that should not be, and that the people that are most affected and the people that are having to show up for work and not be paid, it makes absolutely no sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, that's fine. Keep it over there. I don't even want to hear it. It doesn't make sense to me that children have to go without, that our elderly could be facing hunger crisis because of negotiations with Congress, especially when the people that are causing the shutdown are still being paid, but the people being affected by it are not. So nonetheless, I'm off my soapbox. I want to talk to the firm owners. I want to talk to us about how does this affect us. One way that we need to think about this is that the courts are having to furlough a lot of their staff. So they're having to send them home because they don't have the budget to pay for their salaries. They cannot afford to have a full staff in the court. So that means that it's changing deadlines for cases. And yes, this is on the federal level, but it's changing deadlines for cases. It is changing what that looks like for your clients. Clients are definitely going to be calling more because they're like, oh my God, what's going on? What do I need to do? So when you think about your firm and how you're going to service your clients, you now have to think about more advisement, more strategy calls. I need to reposition myself, especially let's think about if you have business clients, for instance, and they filed a trademark or copyright and they're waiting for these things to be processed, but there are no workers to actually do it on the federal side. Now their processes have slowed down. Maybe they were waiting for that designation as an LLC, or they're waiting for that trademark to be able to take advantage of this business opportunity. What are you going to do now? How are you, as the firm owner, going to position your firm to be the one that handles that for them and that provides a solution for them in the interim? You do not control the government shutdown. And it's definitely not your fault, but this is where we are. And the clients are going to blame and they're going to lean. They're going to blame whoever they can, but they're also going to lean on who can be there for them and who is going to show them a way in a direction. And what's going to happen for you and for your firm, you're going to position your firm as the answer to this particular problem. So for instance, I was talking about business owners. If your clients are business owners or aspiring business owners, and they're having litigation in the federal government, or they are having filings that they're waiting on, then now with you positioning yourself as the answer during this time, during this season, because it will end, we just don't know when, but during this time and during this season, now when this season is over, they're going to be thinking about you in the highest light. They're going to think about the fact that you were in the trenches with them, figuring it out, making sure that their business continued, making sure that they still had the opportunities that were on the table for them, making sure that they were able to pivot during this time and make sure that their business did not go under because of a government shutdown. This time for you is super important as the firm owner. What are you doing to make sure that your firm is not negatively affected by the shutdown? How can you position yourself? How can you position your firm to be the answer for this particular clientele? And then for those of your cases that are waiting on the court to take an action, or maybe they have a new docket control order because of the shutdown. Maybe they've had some delays in having orders or petitions or appeals reviewed because of the shutdown. How are you advising your clients so that they are not feeling like they're about to spaz out, right? And like they say now, they're not about to crash out. They're not calling your phone multiple times a day because they're like, okay, what do I do now? What about this? What about this? And what about that? And what about this? They don't understand. But if you can position yourself as not just a thought leader, but as an answer, as a strategist, as a person that can provide a step from here to here. This is where we are. This is how the government is moving. This is how it is affecting your business. And here are some options to ensure that during this time, you're still growing. During this time, you are still taking advantage of resources and different processes. During this time, you're still setting your business up to thrive post shutdown, right? And think about yourself as a firm owner. I'm thinking about me as a firm owner. If this were to affect us on the state level, if something were to affect us like this on the state level, where we're not able to move cases forward, and now clients are not able to pay for services because their case is not moving forward, or because they cannot go to work, what then? Right? How do you ensure that your firm is still okay? Think about your clients, think about yourself, think about your team. What can you put in place? What systems, what processes, and I'll continue to say it. What technology do you need to have? What do you need to put in place to make sure that you can still thrive in a recession, a pandemic, or a shutdown? And again, I know that the government shutdown is like, okay, that's federal. That's not really affecting me outside of me being able to travel, or me, making a few filings here and there, or maybe it's only affecting my clients. But we have to think about it. We were not ready for a pandemic in 2020, but it hit us. And a lot of businesses, a lot of firms, they shut their doors. A lot of people suffered because they had not thought ahead. This is our time to now think ahead. This is our time to put systems in place to ensure that even during this time, we have some reserves set aside. We are not spending all of our liquid assets. We're not spending all of the money that we have. We have money, yes, in operating, but we also have a savings, a foolishness savings. That's what you should title it. A government foolishness savings account, an emergency fund for the firm. You have it personally, have it for the firm, so that because something will happen. When or if something happens, your team is taken care of. You can have a conversation with your team and say, hey, we have 6 months of reserves. We have a year of reserves, and this is what it looks like. Yes, maybe they're going to go on a different schedule. Maybe they're going to have reduced hours, but they don't go to 0 hours. You're not saying to them, you know what, I'm so sorry, I cannot pay you at all because the firm is living check to check. The firm is living invoice to invoice. The firm is living month to month because we don't have any reserves set aside, because we have not thought ahead, because we thought that we weren't going to be affected by the foolishness that goes on in our government and in our society. So instead of doing that, let's think ahead. Let's take some time and let's see what we need to put in place financially and otherwise. What systems do we need? Are we spending money on systems that we're not even using, or not using well, or not maximizing the use of them? That is something to look at, because that is money going out the door. And that could be a system, that could be a dashboard, that could be software that's going to make life a little bit easier for your clients, or a little bit easier for your staff. So now maybe when the issue actually occurs, you're able to rely a bit more on those systems. If you think about the pandemic, there were so many of us, me included, that had a brick and mortar office. And when the when the pandemic happened, we were like, okay, so you can't come in the office. Now what? So if you did not already have computers for your team to be able to work remotely. If you did not have a remote setup, then you're scrambling to get those things done. Otherwise, you're like, okay, come into the office, but don't talk to anybody. You stay in this office, you stay over there in that one, I'm going to stay in mine, and we're going to talk on Teams or we're going to talk on Zoom. But you have to have things in place so that that does not happen. So you're not caught off guard, and so that you can still pay your team and still keep the team that you have. You want to think about the ripple effect of the government shutdown right now. When we think about it, like I said, it's not just those of us that are traveling or those of us that have federal clients or those of us that have businesses as clients, but it's also trickling down to the clients that cannot go to work. Or maybe their spouse now goes to work and not get paid. So now they're depending on the one income, and that income was paying your fees. So maybe they were about to do a legacy plan, but the husband has to go to work and not be paid. So now the wife's income is what they're depending on. And they have that one income for the whole household, and they have no idea how long they need to survive on that. Let me go ahead and tell you, just in case you don't know, you are not a priority when it comes to people eating, paying bills, and being able to live. It's like that over there. It's my necessities and then my legal bills over here. We'll put that case on hold. We will put that on hold until we figure this out over here, until we can make sure that we have food on the table, that we have lights on, that we have air, or that we have heat, that we have gas in the car. We can't even worry about that legal case right now. And that directly affects your firm. That affects your bottom line. That affects your payroll. That affects your expenses and whether or not you are able to pay those expenses, because that comes from your clients. So yes, again, you may not have clients that are businesses, or you may not have federal appointments that you're working, but you have clients that could be and may be affected by the government shutdown. And you want to position yourself not just as their attorney, but you want to position yourself as a strategist. How can I help you get to the next level? Whether you're a business client or whether you're a private personal client and I'm helping with a legacy plan, but now you're affected some way by this government shutdown. Your clients are going to have way more questions than answers. And if you can go ahead, maybe you want to create a Loom video or create a social media post and say, hey, for business clients, if I were in this shutdown right now, this is what I would do. If I were in this position, I would take these 3 steps to make sure that I survive. I would take these 5 steps to make sure that I thrive post shutdown. If you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, if you're receiving federal appointments, then this is what I would do. The other thing that you want to really think about is safe is not safe. So people that are working in these jobs, or even attorneys that are working for the government, or attorneys that are working at the federal level, and you think that, I get a paycheck, I'm safe. I don't really want to own my own firm. I want to, but it's comfortable over here. It is not safe. It is not safe. Just because you are getting that check on a regular does not mean, just as these other people were affected, that something won't happen, that where someone else is controlling the money that your household receives, which means that they're controlling your freedom. They're controlling your access to the life that you want to live. And if you are tired of someone else controlling that, then now is the time. Maybe you're furloughed, maybe you're at home, maybe you've had some reduced hours. Now is the time to really think about, what do I want my life to look like in a year? If this were to happen again, where would I want to be? How would I want to make sure that I'm so far away from this government shutdown that I don't personally feel the effects, and I'm able to give to those that are. I'm able to help those that are affected. You want to think about that when you're thinking about, I want to step out, but I'm scared. I want to step out, but I love a check. I want to step out, but it's the unknown. I don't really know what to expect. You don't know what to expect with this government. You don't know what to expect with your employer. So safe is not safe. Redefine what that looks like for you. Take control of your destiny. Take control of your life. The other thing I want you to think now is the cheat code. We've talked about how to make sure that you're positioning yourself as a strategist and as the person, as a resource, as the answer during this time. And I also want you to think about, for your firm, diversify. If you are taking federal appointments and you only have clients that have federal cases, then you want to diversify. Let's get some state cases in there in the mix up. So even with your federal matters, when they are shut down or they're on pause or they're delayed, you still have a whole group of people over here on the state level that still need services. They still are going to work. They still have access to funds. They're still able to pay your fees, and you're still able to run your firm. You're still able to be profitable because you have not put all your eggs in that one federal basket. Yes, you want to be very clear about your client avatar, and you have to consider what does that look like, because the federal government is run by a completely different entity than the state. Because of the way that things happen on the federal side, you have to think about those contingencies. Am I able to do some of this very similar work on the state level? Am I able to service very similar clients on the state level? Maybe they're not you don't want a firm full of the state level clients, but it's good during a government shutdown to have some of those, to make sure that you can pay your staff, make sure that you can pay your overhead, and make sure that you can continue to grow and thrive even in a valley season. You want to make sure that you have the cash reserves, that you have the strong systems in place, and that you are pandemic proof, you're recession proof, and you are shutdown proof. All of the things that we talk about on the cheat code is about making sure that your firm is set to ensure that your life is not interrupted, that you can have the life of your dreams because you've put a firm in place that works around you. Get rid of the things that are not working any longer. Reframe your mindset about what you need now in the next season, and really look at your systems, really look at what you're spending money on in your firm to ensure that you are lean and that you're using what you're paying for, so that if and when the issues, the interruptions come, you are still able to thrive and proceed. I appreciate you spending time with me. I know that this is a heavy subject. I know that is something that people are polarized on. There are people on both sides, people like me that just really, I don't understand. And I consider myself a smart person. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm also not a dull one. So this shutdown and the way that it's affecting people just does not sit right with me. I really, really don't understand how we are here. What I do understand, though, is that these things happen. And I do understand that as firm owners, these types of things will affect us. And how can we position ourselves? How can we position our firms to ensure that we are doing what we're supposed to? And you might be thinking to yourself, you know what, I have no time to even think about my systems. I don't even have time to audit my firm. What does an audit look like? What happens in an audit? What happens after an audit? What do I need to do with the information when I get it? Who creates that report? And how do I make sure that my firm is recession, pandemic, government shutdown proof? The way that you can do that, you can watch this video here where I'm talking about your CEO week. What does it look like to have a flow as a CEO? Not in the trenches any longer. Come out and have a bird's eye view of your firm as the CEO. And the other thing that you can do is reach out to me. Let's have a strategy call. I want to help you. I want to be your freedom architect. I want to sit down with you. Let's talk about your vision for your firm. Let's talk about what you really want to do and how you want to service your clients. Let's put a plan in place, and let's get you to the freedom that you so desire. Thank you for spending time with me today. My name is Alicia Jones. Watch this video for some more cheat codes about how to live the life that you really want to live.